Great. Hi everyone, I'm Gloria. I'm Executive Director with East Bay Housing Organizations, and very pleased to be here today. I'm learning a lot myself about some of the state measures, so this is great. So I'm here to talk with you about Measure A-1, which is a county-wide ballot measure. It is a housing bond. It is basically raising $580 million, if it passes, it's $580 million that will be distributed throughout the county, primarily to build, but also to create and preserve various types of affordable housing opportunities. So I have a different sheet than the one that's out front because I had some, I didn't know what to bring. So if someone could pass these around, that'd be great. I'd rather not spend my 3 minutes going over all the details of the numbers. That sheet has them. But basically, as I was asked to talk about the racial justice implications, I think that Measure A-1 is, for folks, I'm guessing like yourselves, one of the few no-brainer measures on the ballot this November, because it basically is about increasing affordable housing, and of course the links between housing and racial justice are extremely deep because the disparities with who has a quality affordable home are linked to a couple of things. One, your wealth and your income, which we all know is extremely linked to differences in race and ethnicity and national origin. And two, very linked to historical segregation and discrimination in housing and in land use. So to me, this is one of those things that really does, if you are providing affordable homes for people, you are automatically reaching people of color. And just to look at the Oakland numbers on housing issues, I think probably many of you are aware that between 2000 and 2010, Oakland lost 24% of its African American population. We don't know for certain, but certainly anecdotally, we know that housing costs have a good deal to do with that. Also, in the housing world where I work, we have a measure that we use that's called being housing cost burdened, which basically means you spend more than a third of your income on housing, which is what the federal government has determined is, probably that's a good level if you're spending about 30% of your income. Bay Area is a little bit different, but the differences with that number racially are very stark. So in Oakland, there's about 43% of white families or white households who are cost burdened with their housing, but with people of color it's 59%, and with black families it's 63%, Latino 58%, API, Asian Pacific Islanders 53%, and mixed race or other 57%. So getting close to, in some cases, 2/3 of populations of color that are paying too much for their housing. And that's why we really want to see this passed to help to mitigate some of the lasting racially disparate impacts of the foreclosure crisis. And basically what this would do, it focuses most of the resources on renters. So there's $460 million that would go to develop long-term affordable rental housing. And basically how it would work is the county would, in most cases, put out the funds, usually to nonprofit organizations, who would then use it to develop housing that by law and by its deed is restricted to folks who are at certain income levels and usually comes with services as well. And I should also point out that through the advocacy of us and some of our partner organizations, 20% of the funds for rental housing under this bond would be devoted to people who are at 20% of the area median income or below, essentially to those among us who have the very fewest resources. So there's there's the potential for homeless housing to be developed through this bond as well. And I'll also just mention that this is a countywide bond, but Oakland is the largest city in the county, and due to the formula that's used under this bond that's on that sheet, stands to get a minimum of $54 million for housing purposes under this bond. We've got about $4 million a year now in the city of Oakland. So, and most likely Oakland would get far more than that. So I'm spending most of my time working on this measure right now. I can answer tons of questions, so I'll stop there and just see if folks have questions about this one. Yes, ma'am.
On the bond, what is the duration of the bond? Would it be considered a property tax or, okay, it will be a property tax? And what do you know the amount, if I may?
Sure, so she asked about the duration of the bond and basically how it's funded. Is the property tax, how does this actually work? So basically, I believe it's a 30-year bond, and like I said, it will generate $580 million in revenue. The way it will do that is, yes, through a tax that is levied on people who own property, residential or commercial. So renters will not, at least not directly, and probably not bear the impact of this tax. The way this will be measured, it's not a parcel tax, which is just by you own a parcel, you have a flat tax. It's by your assessed value, not your market value. Very important distinction in this market. So for every $100,000 of assessed value on your home, if you're a homeowner, it will be between $12 and $14 of assessed value. So you think across the county, this is going to average out probably about $50 a year for the average homeowner. People who have owned their homes longer will pay less because their assessed value is probably lower under our current tax system. But it is a tax, and we'll be straightforward about that. I wish we had other ways to fund this stuff. Yes, sir, in the back.
Why aren't the renters being included in this tax?
Well, I mean, it's only a tax on property owners. Oh, sorry. The question was, why aren't renters included? Renters will, I would like to think renters will certainly benefit because it will create more affordable rental homes. But it only is, the tax is only levied on people who own property. So.
As usual.
Yes, that is correct. But I should also point out that there are home ownership opportunities included in the bond as well. And we are very strong believers in the fact that providing everyone with a decent home benefits everyone in the community, even if you already have a stable place to live. I'm a homeowner. I'm ready to pay more property taxes for this one. This is a crisis. $50 a year, that's not good for me.
Is this bond funding existing programs, or is there a new program that are going to be doing? And if so, if it is new programs, what percentage of the poverty line do people qualify for below?
Yeah, great question. So yes, is this going to fund new programs or existing programs? It will be done in a similar way to the way the county spends its housing funds now, just because it'll be many more resources. In most cases, it will go through existing programs, which are basically the county puts out a call for proposals, qualified organizations say, yeah, I want to build this housing in this location, and I'll need this much money, and they'll apply and they'll get a loan to do that. There is also an innovation fund in the bond, which would allow for more rapid response. So if someone wants to do something different, like, wow, there's a really blighted hotel in my neighborhood, and I want to get a community development organization to buy it and fix it up and turn it into affordable homes, that type of thing could be funded as well. Mostly new programs, and as far as income levels, most of it will serve people at 60% of the area median income and below. I'm forgetting that number off the top of my head, but the area median income is about $93,000 for a family of 4, so 60%. Someone can do the math in here. But lower income folks. I should point out though, most of these funds will go to people between 30 and 60% area median income. Those are working folks. Common misperception that people who live in affordable housing are on public assistance. Some certainly are. Most are just working folks who can't afford the astronomical prices here. I think we're running out of time, and I think I saw this gentleman first. Yes.
On the fact sheet, I see that under the homeowner component,
Yes.
it lists 2 loan programs, which means money will be coming back, so that the money fund, in a sense, will be perpetual. And I want to confirm that. Secondly, related to that, who administers this?
The county's housing staff administers this. The question was, is this a revolving loan fund? I think that was basically your question. And who administers this loan fund? And yes, this is a fund where when folks repaid the funds, they would go back into the public coffers and then be loaned out again for the same purposes. And the county's staff will administer this in partnership with local cities.
Under the supervisors, I guess?
The county supervisors would have the final approval of all funding allocations. Yeah. It's really the staff that's doing it.
Legally.
Yes. Yes, in the front.
Compare this to the portion of Measure K that deals with the affordable housing issue.
Yes, I'll repeat that, and I have a 30-second answer to it. So the question is, how does this compare to Measure KK, which is the Oakland Infrastructure Bond? Excellent question. KK is a $600 million bond just for the city of Oakland that includes $100 million also for affordable housing purposes. 2 differences. A-1, obviously countywide. KK is citywide and also includes funds for roads, parks, libraries. KK's emphasis is on preservation of existing homes in the private market. So for example, it's an old rundown apartment building. KK provides funds for a nonprofit to come in, fix that up, rent the apartments at a permanently affordable level and fix it up. A1 has more emphasis on actually building new affordable homes. That's the primary difference in a nutshell.
Thank you so much.
you, Derek.